Hello, I'm Pastor Matthew Verhoeg, and today we're going to look at Luke chapter 16, verses 16 to 18. The law and the prophets were until John. Since then, the good news of the kingdom is preached, and everyone forces his way into it. But it is easier for heaven and earth to pass away than for one dot of the law to become void. Everyone who divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery, and he who marries a woman divorced from her husband commits adultery. In this text, we see why there is a New Testament. The law and the prophets refers to the Old Testament. It's short for the law or the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, the prophets with the prophetic writings, and the writings, the Ketubim. These are the first 39 books in an English Bible. Then we have this radical change with the coming of Jesus Christ, the coming of the King. The good news of the kingdom is preached. Today we receive the good news of the kingdom in the New Testament. This is the Gospels and Acts, the letters of Paul, and then we have the letters of James and Peter and John, the pillars of the early church. All of these were the chosen writers of the New Testament we have today. But even as we have this radical change where the good news of the gospel is preached, it doesn't replace what is written. For Jesus tells us it is easier for heaven and earth to pass away than for one dot of the law to become void. Now, the dot here was referring to a little tick of the Hebrew letter, which would separate like a hey from a chet. And it would be easier for every single created thing, heaven and earth, to pass away than for one letter of the law to become void. In this, we can see that the New Testament does not replace the Old Testament, but adds to it. In fact, the light of the gospel of Jesus Christ changes how we see everything in the Old Testament. Now, Jesus immediately says this text about divorce. Everyone who divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery, and he who marries a woman divorced from her husband commits adultery. In this one verse, we can see that the moral law, like adultery in the 10 Commandments, is upheld by Jesus and even strengthened, because where Moses allowed for divorce because of the hardness of the Israelites' heart, Jesus calls us to a full following of the moral law as we are saved by believing the gospel. Now, does all of this mean that a text like Leviticus and, sacrifice this animal means that we should do so now? And that's no, because everything is seen in the light of Jesus Christ. Jesus' death on the cross is the fulfillment of every one of these sacrifices. It all points to Jesus.